Okay, let me go over to YouTube and get into this sucker. Close. Uh, shows me in there. Close. Okay. Oh, shows me in there. And we're live. It's on there. It's working. Okay, cool. A little bit of a delay.
Wow. So somebody just tweeted out this at Scott E Wrestling account on Twitter that
Yeah.
Bushiro has canceled the contract of Rossi Agawa.
Wow.
He will no longer be executive producer for Stardom.
That's cool. Okay. So we are good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fire up the new intro and we'll get started. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
This is Radio Free Pro Wrestling, your home for smart and stunning wrestling debate with lifelong wrestling fans Shawn and Ashlee. Let the debate begin.
Hello and welcome to a new era of Radio Free Professional Wrestling, as we have gone video as well as audio. Ashlee, welcome to the video era of Radio Free Professional Wrestling. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, Shawn. How are you?
Well, I'm doing quite well. We are going to have one amazing show on our hands. As we are recording this episode, NXT Wednesday is still going on. And Ashlee, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the NXT Women's title match will be in my top 5 matches of the week.
Oh, yeah, I have quite a few in there myself, so.
But let's go ahead. We'll start off at the beginning. We'll get you guys caught up with the news of the week in our control center.
This is your Radio Free Pro Wrestling Control Center. All the wrestling news you need to know.
Okay, Ashlee, first story of the week.
This is
Shawn needs to learn how to do that better. The first story of the week. Okay, so first story of the week, Ashlee. As I was talking about NXT Wednesday, one of the announcers wasn't there this evening. It was Booker T. Booker T went onto Twitter and announced that he had to go have some medical procedure done, and he will be missing the next few weeks of NXT TV. He says everything is well. He hopes to be back soon. And they had Wade Barrett to fill in on Vengeance Day with Vic Joseph tonight. And I got to say, Vic Joseph and Wade Barrett are a good pair to have calling this Vengeance Day pay-per-view if you haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, no, it's a good replacement, and obviously all our best to Booker T and hope for a speedy recovery so he can get back soon.
Exactly. Again, love the five-time WCW champion and the two-time Hall of Famer. So my next story for you, Ashlee. Jim Ross went onto Twitter during the previous week announcing that he had surgery on his hip for cancer. We just want to wish Jim Ross a speedy recovery and hope to see him back calling AEW main events in the near future.
Yeah, this seems to be another spot that he's had, so hopefully he can recover soon. Obviously, we want to wish him well and see him back soon as well.
Okay, so my third news story of the week, we're going to update the Vince McMahon WWE lawsuit chaos is going on, as now the federal government is investigating Vince McMahon. Now, previously last summer, they issued a search warrant and subpoena for his phone, and it was announced by the Wall Street News Journal that they are investigating him for the alleged sex trafficking and other issues that were in the civil lawsuit that we've seen the week before. So this is just getting deeper and deeper for the WWE and Vincent Kenny McMahon. And also another side story, Ashley. John Laurinaitis, through his lawyer, made a statement this week that he's alleging that he is a victim of Vincent Kenny McMahon, and this in the same statement disavows the allegations that Miss Grant made towards John Laurinaitis, allegedly. And I gotta say, it's crazy for this guy to think he can play the victim card.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about all of this, so I'm glad this investigation is happening, though. It definitely needs to be occurring.
Exactly. I had a feeling that this might be the way it was going to go, and I feel like it was the only way that we could see criminal charges go towards Vince McMahon. I didn't think that Miss Grant would go the criminal route because it takes unfortunately in the United States legal system, it takes a lot of money to fight a criminal lawsuit. The one source that could have the money to back this lawsuit up to fight Vincent Kenny McMahon is the federal government.
Yeah, and with some of the stuff out there, I mean, if John Laurinaitis is alleging all of this, I don't know if he has something to contribute, which could also be potentially case breaking. But we'll have to see what's going on. But this is, like I said, I'm just glad it's actually being investigated. Like, this is exactly what needs to be happening.
Exactly. Now, see, I have a feeling that Jordan Laurinaitis' statement for his lawyer is kind of getting him set up down the road if this federal prosecution goes forward to actually the trial phase. Maybe he can get the federal government to flip him as a witness, and he thinks he can get lesser sentence, maybe. But honestly, both these guys need to face the music.
Yeah, and anyone else involved. So if this investigation finds out anybody else, they should all head out together.
Well, while all this is going on the corporate side of WWE, we just seen on Friday Night SmackDown, Cody kind of sidestep for The Rock, as now we're heading towards WrestleMania season, and apparently we're getting Rock versus Roman. Is this the main event that we all thought we wanted? When is Cody going to end this story?
Well, judging by social media, the answer is no. This is not the match we wanted. A genuinely baffling move. If this isn't some sort of, I would ploy to get, I don't know, I guess more support or something for Cody. If this is really the match they're going for, this is not a match that needed to revolve around the title. Why have Cody win the Royal Rumble?
Exactly. I'm like, wait a minute. The winner of the Royal Rumble is supposed to main event WrestleMania, unless The Rock comes back and says, "Hey, bro, can I have this match?"
I mean, you could have easily done Cody Roman here at WrestleMania and Rock Roman at SummerSlam, which would have been a huge SummerSlam match. Even your Saudi Arabia show.
True. Now we'll get on in depth with the Cody, Roman, and Rock scenario later on in the 76 questions.
Okay, yeah, let's save that conversation.
I'm gonna sped through that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that has been your Control Center for February the 5th, 2024, here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. And Ashley, we're heading to the stunning 6 questions.
Okay.
It's Shawn and Ashlee's top.
Not that one. This one.
Time to ring the bell. As Shawn and Ashlee debate 6 stunning questions from the week of wrestling. All the whys. And what the hell was that?
Okay, Ashley, my very first stunning question as we're coming off to the control center where we were talking about the Friday Night Smackdown ending where we saw The Rock basically slide into the main event of WrestleMania. That clip on YouTube has over 300,000 dislikes. So much so, the WWE re-edited the package at the end and put it back on YouTube with a shorter version where it cuts out a lot of Cody and The Rock's interaction. So my question for you, Ashley, what do you think about the backlash of this main event for WrestleMania, and when does Cody finish the story?
This is very self-inflicted. You've built this whole thing up for 2 years to have Cody win the Royal Rumble, to then just come out and be like, no, not now. It's a very weird call. I don't know why he would step aside for The Rock. Even as a babyface, even as a good guy, you shouldn't be stepping aside from your championship challenge. It's completely illogical, first of all. Second of all, it's a waste of a Royal Rumble win as it stands right now. If you're not going to have Cody take the main event at WrestleMania, what was the point? You could have, I don't know, you could have, switched it up, or, announce Cody versus Seth or something immediately instead of having him go right to Roman instead. In that whole segment, they demeaned that title so badly. Why would anybody challenge for it?
Actually, if I was Seth Rollins, I would send a very hateful email over to Roman and go like, bro, you just totally dissed my title. Like, now it's not even worth the TV title in WWE. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I mean, and not just the title, like Seth Rollins himself too. Like, that was pretty brutal comments. But I mean, even if you have, I don't know if maybe you have Cody instead back down now, fight Seth for the title, and then have him fight Roman at WrestleMania and maybe unify the belts. I mean, maybe that could be an only saving grace type of thing.
I've been thinking about it for like the last 24 hours. I feel like this might be TKO and The Rock having a knee-jerk reaction to everything that's falling down because of the Vince McMahon lawsuit. And they're worried about the ticket sales and the WrestleMania gate. And what can you do to maybe booster the sucker up? I know. Let's have The Rock versus Roman, like this dream match that should have happened like 3 years ago. But now we're going to have it now underneath this big old cloud. And, oh, sorry, Cody. We'll finish your story down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, this match going into it does not need to be for a championship. Do we really think we should have a 51-year-old Dwayne The Rock Johnson as the world champion right now when you've had this run with Roman Reigns? I mean, I see the comments online, and I see people are kind of divided on it now as it stands. Some people have thought he's had it too long, that we've built up too many people and just kind of neutered them at the last minute. But if you're going to have him do it, like, have him break the record. But I genuinely do not understand having The Rock be challenging for a title at this time.
That's true, actually. And another thing we got to think about, we're 2 months out from WrestleMania. Unless The Rock has been secretly clanging and banging for like the last 2 months getting ready for this match with Roman, he only has 2 months to get into wrestling shape, in ring shape, to do a main event match with Roman.
Plus, like, I'm sure he's got Hollywood stuff lined up. Everything's back on. He's doing projects again and acting again. So, I mean, it's kind of makes the match more predictable in a way.
True. I mean, like, you're going into this main event with The Rock and Roman. I would safely say 95% of people are going to put money on Roman Reigns to retain this title and The Rock is going to disappear after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, very likely. And like I said, I genuinely do not understand, even being a babyface backing down from a championship challenge. It was a segment that it made everyone all around look worse, except for Roman. It made Seth Rollins look worse. It made the Raw Championship look worse. It made Cody Rhodes look worse. And now, to a lot of fans, it's made The Rock look worse.
Here's last week we were talking about The Rock being this most beloved person. Like, everybody likes The Rock. He turned it totally heel inside a week.
Yeah. Like you said, I think it could be like a knee-jerk reaction to everything going on, but it's one of those things that you can kind of see the backlash and the I think fair criticism behind it of the people that watch every week, that invest in it, that the men and women on screen who are there in and out every week. It's kind of a slap in the face to all of them.
Rock just made Cody look like the younger stepbrother. Like, hey, bro, this nice new toy you have, I want to have it for a minute. I'll give it back to you, but right now, I'm going to have my time and play with it.
Yeah, and again, at a baffling time where it doesn't need to be happening right now. It doesn't need to be for the title. It doesn't even need to be at WrestleMania.
Okay, so here's an interesting counterpoint. As Bully Ray was on Busted Open Radio, and he laid out another scenario for Cody to get the title, finish the story, but this time finish the story in Madison Square Garden, the same arena where Dusty Rhodes challenged for that title so many years ago, and for a moment or two thought he won it, but it was the first ever Dusty finish, and Dusty Rhodes never truly had that title. But in Bully Ray's scenario, Cody would go to Madison Square Garden, defeat Roman Reigns, and win the title in the same building as his dad had a chance to win the title. That sounds really cool. I can get behind that. If that happens, I want that to be a WWE special on Peacock.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. Again, it would still kind of make the point of him winning the Royal Rumble a little moot.
True, I get that, Ashley. And I feel like we're in this scenario where we're across that bridge and The Rock just put a torch to it and burn it down. We can't go back.
Yeah, I mean, you still got a few weeks. There's still time to like pivot or kind of backtrack a bit, seeing I think the backlash that's been online. I don't know if they're going to back down from this match. I think they think this is the money match that that can get hardcore fans in, older fans in, and the casual fan in.
True. I feel like it comes down to very true. I feel like this comes down to the age-old saying that follow the money, buddy. Follow the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so standing question number 2, as we stay in the WWE, my second question to you is, since The Rock has become part of the board of directors for TKO and seemingly has a lot of leverage and stroke inside the WWE part of it, are we worried about Triple H's future as the creative head of WWE? As there's stories going around that The Rock is bringing in Brian Gartz, the guy who does a lot of his storyline works from previous times that Rock was in the WWE to help out with creative. So, could we see the end of an era of Triple H running the creative side of WWE?
It kind of seems that way. Who would have ever thought in 2024 that The Rock may have more power in WWE than Triple H? Very weird. I mean, anything right now could really shake up the landscape of like the hierarchy in WWE. This investigation could blow things open and could shake things up. This takeover with The Rock and whatever changes I'm guessing TKO is going to allow him to implement as this as kind of him being the middleman in between like TKO and WWE, it seems. So I would kind of be aware if I was everybody working on the executive side in WWE right now.
As this week has played out, as we have been looking at The Rock coming back into the WWE and everything happening, I got a feeling that TKO might be thinking, you know what? We might want to ease Triple H out of the limelight, out of WWE, so we can have a quote unquote fresh new start. Is like that's the old WWE. This is the new WWE underneath the TKO banner with The Rock leading the way, and we're going to intimate all these changes in the HR department to make sure this never, never, ever happens again.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And honestly, some of the people there, if they know, it might be for the best already to kind of just, kind of rip the Band-Aid off and separate now.
True. And we were talking about this last week with Triple H. He's kind of in this rock in a hard place, pardon the pun. And just for us as fans of Triple H, we're still kind of wondering, how much did he really know about everything going on?
Yeah, and I'm just, like I said, it's good this investigation is happening, and hopefully that anybody involved can just step aside or, be dealt with in the way they need to be. But I mean, like you said, it's tough because Triple H is in such a tough spot with it being family, with it being the company he's running, with it being this investigation now being federal. It's going to be crazy for the next few weeks.
Yes, it's going to be a very, very interesting 2024 for WWE behind the scenes, and we'll keep you up to date here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. But we're moving on to our third standing question of the week. Seemingly, the news of the lawsuit with Vince McMahon and WWE caused AEW to postpone a quote unquote huge announcement. But hey, this coming up Wednesday on Dynamite, Tony Khan's back at it again. Huge announcement promised. My question to you, Ashley, are we about ready to see the Rainmaker and Mercedes Moné both be announced as AEW signings?
I think it's very possible. I wouldn't be as surprised with Okada. Obviously having like the same agent as the Young Bucks, being as close as he is with the guys in the Elite and stuff like that. It's very possible that he ends up there, and I wouldn't be that surprised. Mercedes, I would be a little more surprised. Only because, we've seen before the lack of kind of investment in the women's division. But I will say at the start of this year, we've seen, especially on Collision, a real investment of time and effort into like women's matches and storylines that they have going. So bringing in somebody like that and having like kind of like, imagine starting off 2024 with having a Will Ospreay coming in, Kazuchika Okada, and a Mercedes Moné, like all divisions immediately impacted in unprecedented ways.
Okay, so my follow-up question to you is, of the Rainmaker and Mercedes Moné, who would be the bigger get for AEW? Who would have the best feature for them in AEW?
It's a very tough call. I think the bigger get of the two might be Mercedes, only because I had seriously projected her, like, I thought she was going to end up back in WWE. And I know that they were at least trying to sign her back. So having her come in and what they've been doing with this women's division, to have like a name as big as that come in when you have a name like already guaranteed to be coming in, like a Will Ospreay, like Kazuchika Okada would just be like a cherry on top, but like having like a signing like Ospreay in the men's division and Mercedes in the women's division to start off at 2024 would be incredible for AEW.
Well, they would be making a play to maybe getting up to the same level as the WWE if they were able to get both of these talents into their company. And I gotta say, I would go with Mercedes Moné being the bigger gift for AEW because that would instantly get more eyeballs onto the women's division. And we've seen in the last month and a half, AEW has gone out of their way to make the women's division more prevalent on their TV. And they have bolstered this roster with Deonna Purrazzo, Mariah May. And I feel like they're going with longer matches for these ladies on, especially Collision, of all things, which is, I'm approving. I love Las Vegas Collision.
Yeah. Serena Deeb having a match, Red Velvet looking great, kind of getting like a nice rotation of some women that we don't get to see too often, and that we're kind of in, like somebody like Red Velvet who they've been building.
Very true. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on what is to come this week in AEW. So check back here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling next week, and we'll tell you what Tony Khan's big announcement is. Do you have a guess what this big announcement is?
Tony Khan and his announcements. If it's not a signing, I'm hoping it is actually something worth getting everybody riled up for.
Okay, if it's not a signing of Okada and Mercedes Moné, I want Daniel Bryan, I want the American Dragon to walk out there and literally on Dynamite TV find Tony Khan for using Twitter.
Yeah. Like I said, he's got to be careful with these things because, I mean, we've seen some real stretches to be called a huge announcement. So,
it's got to a point where it's almost a trope of his now. It's like everything's a big announcement. I feel like he's going to wake up one morning and just announce on Dynamite, hey, I'm going to have like toast and eggs for breakfast. Big announcement.
Yeah, I was like, well, it has been a little bit since we've seen a graphic that says TK will have an announcement. So hopefully it actually means we have an announcement.
Fingers crossed. We're moving on to our fourth stunning question of the week. And this is an interesting stunning question as Mick Foley is coming to his birthday. And for his birthday, he's saying he may want to have one more match, a death match with a certain Matt Cardona. Ashley, would he be for this match?
I could see it being a very good match. Matt Cardona has been killing it on the indies for I would say the past few years. He's we've seen him have his death matches in GCW and stuff like that. I think he's kind of like a perfect safe opponent for somebody that like a 60-year-old Mick Foley, if he's going to attempt to have this match, could have this match with.
When I saw this story come out, I was thinking the one place where this could happen is GCW. And Matt Cardona being the opponent makes total sense in the world. And I feel like Matt Cardona could lead them through a death match, safely through a death match, as you can possibly do a death match. And still, it would be entertaining. You know what? It would make me go out of my way to buy that GCW pay-per-view if they had that match.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested because Matt Cardona is very good at like kind of doing the promos back and forth to build up these matches for GCW and stuff like that, and doing stuff over social media. So I would definitely be interested if they could build something up. If Foley is definitely serious about it, I could see him being, like you said, I was saying earlier, I think Matt Cardona, perfect style opponent.
And really, Mick Foley wanted to do this. Hey, I'm all for it. This guy has spent a lifetime entertaining us with professional wrestling. So if he wants to do one more match, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he hasn't been hanging around, like for years and years, like some others. So I could see him getting into a shape and a place where he could at least have one more match.
Well, we'll keep our ears to the ground and see if this actually ever happens. I kind of hope it does. Let's move on to our fifth stunning question. As Ashley, we are 6 days away from New Beginning in Sapporo. This February 11th pay-per-view for New Japan Pro Wrestling has all of a sudden become the major pay-per-view outside of Wrestle Kingdom. It's an era for New Japan Pro Wrestling because on this card is Okada's last match in the company and Will Ospreay's last match in this company. So which match are you most looking forward to seeing? Is it the United Empire versus Bullet Club inside the steel cage? Or is it the Ace versus the Rainmaker one last time?
I mean, they're both so significant, but like a cage match for the first time in 20 years in New Japan, that's insane. But I mean, it's so crazy that President Tanahashi here is going to be taking on Okada in his last match too. These are two of the most fundamental and irreplaceable, like Okada is leaving, he's never going to be replaced. So he is one of the most irreplaceable parts, as is Tanahashi, of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So to see two, like, I know the word gets thrown around in AEW, but literal two pillars of New Japan Pro Wrestling kind of throw down one more time is going to be phenomenal.
You know, I've been debating this question for the last 24 hours after I posted it to you. And honestly, I want to see both matches. Yes, I know that's a crazy way cop out. But if I had to take one, I'm going with the steel cage match. Like you said, first time in 20 years, first time with a live audience in New Japan Pro Wrestling to witness a cage match. And I feel like this match is going to be the semi-main event. And we know that Ace versus Rainmaker is going to be the main event to close the show out.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you know both guys are going to leave it out there.
Exactly. I mean, they're both going to try to steal the show. And I got to say, there won't be a dry eye in that house after Okada beats the Ace one last time. Because I doubt they're going to let the Ace have this victory.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see Okada winning. And like you said, everyone is going to be a mess. The crowd, announcers, Okada, everybody in the back, the post-match comments are going to be just insanely sad.
It's going to make a very long February the 11th because this happens about 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern, and it's also Super Bowl Sunday.
Ooh. Well, listen, I'm not a fan of either of these teams in the Super Bowl, so...
You know, actually, I'm not either, so I could skip the Super Bowl and use that for my sleep. I might be up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch this live. Okay, so our sixth and final stunning question of the week. Coming off of an amazing promo of Swerve Strickland, I have a question for you. Do we let Samoa Joe be a transitional champion and Swerve Strickland get the title at AEW Revolution? Am I crazy?
I don't know. I think Joe's been killing it, and I feel like we're on the verge of a shift with Swerve. I feel like we're going to turn him babyface. And I think maybe we do that before we have him win the title. Because these, like, the past few weeks with especially Prince Nana have been like almost like some friction between them. Like Swerve Strickland almost seems like annoyed with him or bothered by his dancing. And then Hangman poking and prodding him until he gets his one-on-one match. Swerve looks at Nana and tells him, all right, no interfering. And Nana's like, haha, all right, yeah, I hear you, but I'm going to still interfere. And he was like, no. And they seem to like have some like tension between them. So I'm wondering if we're going to have maybe a flip here between Hangman and Swerve. I think maybe Hangman costs Swerve this title match.
You know, that could possibly happen, actually. I was thinking, especially with that tension we saw on Collision last night, maybe we see the Model Embassy break away from Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana costs him this match with Heyman on Wednesday night, and Prince Nana at the end of the show looks down at Strickland and goes like, I made you. You ain't gonna tell me no. If I want to interfere, I'm gonna interfere.
Yeah, I could even see it happening like accidentally. Like Nana goes to try to help Swerve without Swerve's approval, but it backfires and costs Swerve, and then that causes Swerve to have more tension with Nana.
Exactly. And oh, by the way, if he loses to Heyman, we got AEW rankings again. So maybe we can send the storyline just a little bit further.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a couple of ways they could go about it, but I really do feel like they're going to turn Swerve into one of the bigger baby faces in AEW.
It's crazy to think at the beginning of 2023, you would tell us that the biggest baby face in 2024 for AEW is First Strickland. I think we would both be looking at you like you're the craziest person on the planet.
Yeah, no, I think this promo was kind of maybe the start of a little bit of a shift.
I think so. I think this is going to be the demarcation line of heel Strickland and now babyface Strickland, because he mentioned Athena holding it down on Ring of Honor, being the champion and basically carrying that brand for the last year. He mentioned Ron Siddams being the first ever black champion for WCW, and he also shouted out Kofi Kingston for Kofi Mania as people who gave or the shoulders that he's standing on as he gets his chance for the world title coming up.
Yeah, no, it was a great promo, and like I said, I think that is kind of going to mark a shift for him, and I could see, like I said, I could see possibly, like you said, Nana costing him this match with Hangman, Hangman costing him his title match if he does get the title match. There's a couple of ways they could go about it, but I would be very interested in a heel Hangman and a face Swerve in this dynamic, because this rivalry, even beyond this match, I would love to see this kind of be like a staple rivalry in AEW.
A heel Heyman with a loss here to Strickland on this match at Wednesday. Hey, his buddies, the Young Bucks, they're pretty much heels now on AEW TV. Could we just get the Elite back and maybe the Elite be the foils to the Model Embassy and we have a face Model Embassy?
Yeah, I mean, that whole Elite stuff kind of ended very weirdly, and we never got any sort of I mean, I know with Kenny, like, that's one thing, he's out with his illness and stuff like that. So, but there was never really any closure or anything that happened between Hangman or the Bucks when the Elite sort of fell away again.
Very true. We'll just have to keep our eyes out, especially after this Wednesday, because this is a pivotal moment here in AEW. Because I feel like they need to pull the trigger on the title change with Strickland. I love Samoa Joe, but the crowd is still super hot for Strickland, and you might want to hit it when it's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I exactly. And it's sometimes with AEW, I feel like they do miss that, so they might want to jump on this one. I'll have to see how it plays out, but either way, I wouldn't be surprised. But this year, I know Swerve Strickland will be champion at some point.
You know what? We said that in our big bold predictions for 2024 by the end of the year that Strickland was going to be the AEW World Champion. And honestly, if he's not, we're going to look back and go like, Tony, what did he do there?
Yeah, no, he needs to be champion by the end of the year. And there's like Samoa Joe is a great champion, but I don't want him to have like such a short reign, but I could see him still having like maybe like a 4 or 5 month reign as champion before dropping it. Maybe you do like Double or Nothing, or maybe even All Out for a switch.
True. I think you could kick it down to at least Double or Nothing, and they could have a match at Revolution and Hangman costs Strickland the opportunity for the title. Then you can have like a 3-way at Double or Nothing, and I feel like that would be an interesting way to go with the storyline.
Yeah, I mean, interesting that there's. I like this title picture we have right now.
Yes, AEW's main event scene, and oh, by the way, the AEW women's title scene has drastically improved since 6 months ago. I mean, like, they have got back into gear. I feel like they found the magic formula again to make AEW must-see TV.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Toni Storm killing it as the women's champion, and Samoa Joe just still so great after all these years. It's phenomenal.
Well, we're going to end these 76 questions here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling for this week. We are moving over to mine and Ashley's favorite segment of the show. It's our top 5 matches of the week. And I got a feeling, Ashley, there's going to be a lot of collision in our top 5 matches. But do you want to go first or you want to let me go first?
Go ahead, you can go first.
Okay, so my number 5 match of the week literally just happened about an hour ago. It's the NXT Women's Title match, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. It was an excellent match. Halfway through this match, we saw Lola Vice come in, use her breakout tournament contract to make this a triple threat, and Roxanne Perez freaked out like, wait a minute, here we go again. I'm never going to have this single match where I can get my title back. And she's never lost this title. She never had a single match where somebody pinned her to the mat, 1, 2, 3, to lose said title. And unfortunately, that continues because Lyra Valkyria nails Lola Vice with her Night Wish finisher, which looks like a Tiger Driver, which looks pretty cool because it used to be Lyra Valkyria's finisher was a top rope dive, and I'm happy that she changed the sucker up. But go back, watch this match because Roxanne Perez hits a side Russian leg sweep DDT combo. And I'm like, dude, that was sick.
Awesome. I feel like we're going to have a lot of women's matches on our top 5 this week.
You know, that could be a theme too here, Ashley. Let's go ahead and see what your number 5 match of the week is.
All right. So number 5, I went with Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie from Dynamite.
Oh my word. How Deonna Purrazzo got her into that submission hold at the end of the match where her arms are up behind her neck. I like, my shoulders would pop out of the socket. I'd be tapping out real too.
Yeah, no, kind of a match that they gave a little bit of time to, so that was nice. They had quite a few minutes to work. Taya Valkyrie is somebody that we kind of only saw prominently in that feud with Jade that she had for the TBS title, but hasn't really been used as much since. So to see her kind of go out and have a nice showcase was really good. And Deonna Purrazzo continuing to build towards her match with Toni Storm looks great.
True. And oh, by the way, this Wednesday on Dynamite, we get to see Toni Storm, as she would put it, a warm-up match with Red Velvet, and Deonna Purrazzo is going to be on commentary for this match. Of course, nothing's going to happen. Don't worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to go to my number 4 match of the week. I'm going over to Progress. They put up their latest chapter, and the first match is Leon Slater versus Mustafa Ali. And boy, this was a fun opener. Now, Leo Rush has signed with TNA back in the fall when TNA was over in England for their tour, and he's going to come over to TNA here in 2024. And he gets a win here over Ali, which was kind of cool to see. And after the match, Ali puts him over and says, hey, I'm going to see you in TNA here. So I got a feeling we're going to see this match rerun in TNA down the road. But
oh, yeah. Ali's been all over the place, and he's been kind of killing it everywhere. I've seen a couple of these indie matches he's had.
But hey, if you want to see some cool wrestling, it's like $9.99 for Progress on Demand Plus. So go sign up for a month. Check this out. This was kind of cool. So what was your number 4 match of the week?
All right, so number 4. I went with another women's match from AEW. Crazy what happens when you give them more than one a week, huh, Tony? Serena Deeb, Queen Aminata from Collision. Queen Aminata just killing it every week she's had. Hopefully we'll see a graphic for her soon if she keeps this up. But Serena Deeb continuing to look great upon comeback, and this was like a really good, like, technical women's match.
Okay, so I literally tweeted out after this match, I feel sorry for anybody who failed to see this match because these two ladies just kicked a lot of ass. And it was technical wrestling. And Serena Deeb made Queen Anna look great. And I mean, Queen Anna has had great match after great match for the last month and a half. We've been here pounding this desk for her. Tony, I know you signed Brian Keefe to a contract. We need another AEW All Elite graphic, and it should be Queen Anna.
Yeah, especially these past 6 weeks, she has more than earned a spot.
I know she ain't had a victory yet, but all these matches she's been in, she's felt right at the same level as whoever's across the ring from her.
Yeah, and to stand across the ring from somebody as well regarded as Serena Deeb and as great and in ring and technical as Serena Deeb is, and to have that good of a match with her, they definitely need to be talking some numbers with her right now.
True. If you haven't seen this match, go out of your way to watch this one because it was a Mac classic. This brings me up to my number 3 match of the week. And I'm going to stay in progress because we got to see Sunshine Machine versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. The Grizzled Young Veterans made a return to progress, and this match was a banger. And Sunshine Machine almost taps out to Grizzled Young Veterans, but they were lucky to reverse it and get the pinfall victory. And after the match, the Grizzled Young Veterans put over Sunshine Machine, the longest reigning Progress Tag Team Champions of all time. And it was just great to see the guys in Grizzled Young Veterans back in action and not being a part of the dyad.
Yeah, no, another team I've been seeing kind of popping up all over a couple of different promotions and putting, I love this. I love when you see that these guys have so much success, especially after having been let go from WWE. So to see them around just killing it everywhere is great.
Okay, Mustafa Ali, Grizzly Young Veterans, they are three talents that the WWE dropped the ball with because look at what they've done since they left the WWE. They're basically still out places. They're having banger matches, and you guys have these guys here, and you just couldn't do anything with them.
I know. I'm so looking forward to Mustafa Ali in New Japan.
I'm just, you know what? As he says, in Ali we trust. In Ali we trust.
Yes.
So, Ashley, what is your number 3 match of the week?
All right, number 3 from Dynamite. Let's give Hangman Page an award for Booker of the Week for booking Swerve Strickland and RVD in a hardcore match on Dynamite. We dropped some hints. We kind of figured it was going to be RVD, but still amazed at the shape he's in for his age.
Oh, my word. I have a bone to pick with anybody who goes online and says RVD is over the hill. He can't do what he used to do. The dude still can go. He does all the traditional RVD moveset. What else do you want this guy to do?
Yeah, no, I thought he looked fine in ring. He looks he's older. There's no getting around the age thing, but he's still shredded. He looks great.
And none of those keyboard warriors could have a good match like he did with Swerve Strickland. I mean, Swerve Strickland's good, but I know he's not a miracle worker with some of these keyboard warriors.
Yeah, no, I mean, Swerve Strickland is obviously a great opponent to be against anybody. He's always going to make everybody look good. But RVD's been in AEW a couple of times, and I thought he's looked fine every single time. And I thought this one was kind of a standout match, honestly.
It was. And oh, by the way, kudos to Heyman Adam Page to read the contract and go, oh, by the way, I get to pick the opponent in the stipulation. And this is the fact that Strickland turns around and eats the chair in RVD's foot as soon as that got announced. Chef kiss.
Yeah. And honestly, a quick little shout out to the Hangman Page and Toa Leona match because that was very good too. I didn't put it on my list, but Toa Leona looked very good in his first singles match in AEW.
True. That was a fine match, and they got another big man that can freaking go. I mean, it's crazy. The land of the giants in AEW. You have Brian Cage. You have Toa Leona now. It's like you could have a super heavyweight class. Oh, wait. No, Tony. No more belts. No more belts.
I would like to see a Brody King and Toa Leona match.
Oh, my word, that would bang. That would be, oh, my word. You talk about meat versus meat. That would be meat versus meat. Okay, so I'm going to my number 2 match of the week, and it's from Collision, and it's the opener. It's Eddie Kingston and Brian Keefe. This was a fun, hard-hitting match, but what makes it my number 2 match of the week, at the end, Tony Schiavone slides into the ring, has Brian Keefe turn to the Tracton, and we get to see the All Elite graphic with Brian Keefe's picture and name, and they announce that he is All Elite and has a contract with the company now. Bravo. This guy has worked his ass off in AEW, and I can't say enough that this guy deserves it.
Yeah, no, I'll be talking about this match in a second. Very happy to see Brian Keith finally announced, and to see the performance he put in for this match was crazy. Him and Eddie Kingston absolutely killed it.
Very true, very true. So what was your number 2 match of the week?
All right, so my number 2 is also from Collision because I had to struggle which one I was going to put for 1 and which one I was going to put for 2. But Bryan Danielson and Hechicero. The Rocky Romero effect that has been prevalent on AEW in getting them all of these like partnerships and stuff like that has been outstanding. To see these guys come in is very cool, and to see somebody like Hechicero, who this is like my introduction to some of these guys, is just outstanding. Crazy good entrance, and then just him and Bryan Danielson is having this technical match. Beautiful.
Very true. This is the first time I saw the gentleman wrestle, and I was taken away. Like you said, the entrance is excellent. He has one of the best entrances I have seen in professional wrestling. Dude looks like $1,000,000 just walking out to the ring. Then you get into the ring, and he's on the same level as the American Dragon because it's 2 technical submission wrestling. So much so that our good friend Nigel McGuinness is pulling for him to have the victory no matter what. And oh, by the way, when the American Dragon pulls out the surfboard, Nigel goes like, oh, that's such a boring move. But when Hector had that on there, he's like, greatest move ever. Greatest move ever.
Yeah. Oh my God. When that match happens, when Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness finally have their match, I am going to be so excited.
It's going to be, you know what? This is the definition of long-term storytelling, and this has to happen at the next Wembley Stadium's show. It has to. But you know what? I want to see Hector Sano have another match on Dynamite or Collision, because if you haven't seen this guy wrestle, go check that match out. You're going to fall in love with him.
Yeah, no, very cool and unorthodox, like submission maneuvers and transitions. Stuff I've like never seen as far as transitions and stuff. Like, very cool.
You know, there's things in there where I feel like Nigel, Tony Schiavone, and Kevin Kelly, they're looking at each other like, what do we call this? I don't know what this is, but it looks cool.
I feel like even Bryan Danielson felt that way.
Yeah, he kind of had a look on his face like, man, I got lucky, and man, this guy's good. I may not want... Wait a minute, I want another match with this guy. Yeah, let me have this match again. I can do better.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're up to my number 1 match of the week. And no surprise, it comes from Collision. Collision was a 5-star show. And I'm going to the main event. It's the 6-man tag match. You got FTR Garcia versus Christian Cage and his family. And I got to say, the star of the show is Daniel Garcia. And if Daniel Garcia does not get the TNT title shot at Revolution, there needs to be a revolution.
Yeah. 2024 is definitely going to be the year of Daniel Garcia in AEW. They need to push him to the moon because he has it, man. In ring, his personality and promos have developed so much in his time in AEW. He's put it together, and they need to get one of those kind of like mid-level titles on him.
Very true. And you remember back in the fall, we were kind of worried when they broke up the Jericho Appreciation Society. We weren't sure where he was going to go. And you fast forward about 3 months, the dude is on fire.
Yeah, we've seen him kind of like under like the tutelage of Jericho, and I think I kind of think he had a little more success when he was partnered with Menard and Parker solely. I think like his development with them from his Red Death gimmick into kind of like a more personality based thing was good. Jericho helped bring out the overly ambitious and overly confident version of Daniel Garcia. So now it's very interesting to see what somebody like FTR can develop in him.
Very true. I'm all for this trio of FTR and Daniel Garcia. Just don't tell Cash that FTR is not in the tag team rankings because he's kind of annoyed about that again.
Yeah, there's some. We have the rankings back. I'll say there's still some questionable things on that rankings list, but there's some. Most of it is fine, but there's like 2 or 3 names on a couple of those lists that I was like,
It's just interesting, but that's a story for another time. So, Ashley, what is your number 1 match of the week if I don't already got a guess?
Yeah, I mentioned it a little bit. It's Eddie Kingston and Brian Keith. Hard hitting opener, like you said, and just the cherry on the cake at the end with Brian Keith getting the graphic and the acknowledgement. And honestly, I loved everything about that ending too, because then you had Bryan Danielson come out and interrupt Eddie Kingston, like congratulating Brian Keith, and again ignoring and walking right past Eddie Kingston, like in this like build up to the next Eddie Kingston Bryan Danielson match. So just a lot of like really good like storytelling stuff, along with this like really great moment for a young signee.
Exactly. It's like we were talking last week. Bryan Danielson is walking down to the ring, and he's like, I don't see Eddie Kingston. I beat Eddie Kingston. He's old news. Brian Keith, congratulations for joining the company, getting signed. Bravo. Let me raise your hand. Like the babyface I am. This is so funny to see this condescending American Dragon. I kind of like it. And just the fact that it just adds an extra level to his character. And Nigel on commentary just going like, look at the disrespect to Eddie Kingston. And apparently Nigel is like the biggest Eddie Kingston fan.
I genuinely love this dynamic that some like announcers and wrestlers have like everywhere, where they're a baby face for like all of this, but like they're a heel for this one person. Like I love that dynamic so much. Like you have like when MJF was a bad guy, he was booed everywhere except Long Island, where he was received as this huge baby face. Like I love it. It's so funny to me.
But yet, this match was so good. I actually thought Brian Keith was going to win this match and get a championship match with Eddie Kingston down the road. So much so that if I could change one thing, I may have gave him the victory.
Yeah, no, especially with the signing. I mean, I wouldn't have even been surprised to see Eddie agree to give him a match anyway after that.
Like, yeah, I can see that too, because it kind of fits Eddie Kingston's character. He's just like, I want to fight. This was a great match. You want a rematch? Anytime, any place, buddy. Anytime, any place.
Yeah, I could definitely see him throwing out an open challenge with them.
Well, that has been our top 5 matches here on Radio Free Professional Wrestling. If you haven't seen them, go out, search the internet for them. And actually, we come to that part of the show where I asked you that question. Where can we find you on the super highway?
So I'm on Twitter, and it's at groovy_ash_.
And you can always follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Radio Free PW. You can also check out www.radiofreepw.com to catch up on the previous episodes of the show. And Ashley, going forward, you can go to our YouTube channel. Let's type in Radio Free Professional Wrestling. Do us a favor, ring the bell, subscribe, and we're going to go forward with a little video action. And I gotta say, this was a fun episode. This is try out to see what it was like. And this might stay for a while. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it seemed pretty easy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, until we see you next week, remember, this is our groovy and stunning era. And as always, scissor guns up.
Scissor guns up.
Oh, come on. Let me go down here too. Any other time
This
let me do this.
This story about Ogawa is insane.
Hang on one second. Let me do this.
Christina here. On behalf of the guys, thanks for listening. Like the show? Do us a favor and share it with a friend. Have a stunning question? Email it to the show at radiofreeprowrestling@gmail.com. Until next time, this has been Radio Free Pro Wrestling. Stay stunningly.